Oh, okay, we up. So, y'all, I hadn't done a video in a while for ladies in preparation, but while I have my sister-in-law with me and my mom here, I wanted to just come to you guys and just with a quick video. And first off, just happy Mother's Day to everybody. And one of the things that I wanted to ask my sister, which is married, to my brother, and my mom, which she's not married anymore, but I wanted to ask them like questions or just to give advice on singleness. Like, what did they do to prepare during their single time, and also like what advice can they give us in to not be so anxious while we're waiting as ladies in preparation. So anybody can go first. Shonda.
The only advice that I can give to a single woman is to just embrace the fact that you are single, and just but when you do get ready to pair up, make sure you're pairing up with somebody that you know. I think communication is the key, because you don't want to be tied to somebody that you can't, when things are not going right, that you can't come to and sit down and communicate with without it being a big problem.
Okay.
Well, I guess I can speak on behalf of the single part, and then getting into a marriage and no longer married anymore. I guess looking back in retrospect, I think the biggest thing that I would say would be to take your time, be very selective, because this is a lifetime partner that you're getting ready to be with. And if you're seeing things in early stages that you really believe that may not be something that you can live with, because I believe that God will grace us for the people that are in our lives, but everybody is not graced for us. So I would say take your time, pay attention to different things that are going on around. Don't bypass things. Don't try to be in too big of a hurry to try to get there when you've never been there before. The next thing I would say is to take advice from other people that have been married before. Get yourself around some people that have longevity in marriages, so that they can kind of talk to you about, some of the how to fight what I call a good fight. Because anytime that you're get involved with somebody else in your life, you're going to take on a different set of struggles with you, and also a different set of blessings with you. So you want to be able to know how to handle the blessings, and at the same time how to handle the struggles as well.
Okay. So one question did come up while you guys were talking, and it was for singles that are like me. I ain't dated in a while. So when I do meet that person or meet that guy that asked me on a date or is interested in taking me out, what, like, that happy feeling, you want to get excited, but then it's like you don't want to get too excited or just jump head over heels. Like, what kind of advice can you give to ladies that are like myself? You ready to plan trips and all this kind of stuff because you've been waiting all this time, and it's like, just to kind of take it slow or whatever. So what advice?
I'm all for taking things slow. Like I said, you just want to make sure that you're careful about who you're pairing up with and who you're spending a lot of time with.
Okay.
I would say live a life of expectancy. If you've been praying about a thing and you've been in your set place, especially if you've been preparing for things like that, get excited about it. Don't let past situations run you off and make you think that, oh God, here comes another one. But that's what you've been praying for. I think if you learn how to embrace the fact that there's a possibility, there's someone out there that's for you, that just enjoy the moment, because, everything is a learning curve. You're going to sometimes meet people that may be for you for long term, and sometimes they're not, but embrace the friendship of things. So I would say not go in thinking that this is the one, because a lot of times that's what we women
But
do.
what if he is?
Yeah, but you want to definitely keep a happy face about it all. Don't try to run him off with trying to be cool and and I ain't trying to let him see this and that. But you want to show some excitement, because everybody wants to know that they are wanted in relationships, and then let God unfold it. I'm always told that relationships are unfolding in places, and we're taking layers off one at a time. So I would say enjoy when that time does come. And boy, I tell you, go back and thank God that night when you get ready to go out on that first date. Thank God and hope and pray it'll be a next day.
Yeah.
And hope it's the right person too, though.
Okay, well that's good. So anything else y'all might want to offer? Maybe, okay.
I would say know what it is that you're asking for. You're going to go through seasons, especially for those of you that have gone through seasons where, it hadn't been anybody in your life for a long time. Don't look at that as a bad thing. I think it's a learning phase, because, the longer God has you in a holding place, it's a place where God wants you to get to know you and to get to know him as well, because he never wants us to make people as our gods. And when we get in and we start learning little things about ourselves, so you can find yourself, take yourself out to dinner. Don't wait on somebody else to take you out to eat. Go to the finest of restaurants. And ladies, one of the things that I would tell you is that wherever it is that you are wanting that gentleman to take you, take yourself there first. Don't wait on him. If you're not wanting to go to McDonald's, don't want him to take you to McDonald's, don't you start going to McDonald's on your own. You go in and begin to get used to going into, finer places and things like that. And then hopefully he will come in and introduce you to different things that are there. But raise your standards up a little bit, ladies. I think that's what I would say to you. Don't lower your standards into thinking you got to just take the hand-me-downs of, something somebody else had, and surely don't pick up somebody else's trash.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody just gave away something and you so quick to want to get that back. Girl, she laid that on the road for a reason. So you want to be, just careful about those things.
Well, let me ask you this. So, have y'all ever heard of women making lists of like the type of man that they want? Mm-hmm. How important is that? Like, I mean, when you find a lady that's making a list of something that they want in a man, like what kind of list do we need to make? Like height, teeth, job, car, ain't staying with your mama, or I mean, like what kind of list do we need to make, like seriously?
Well, I don't see anything wrong with making a list, and whatever you put on your list, just make sure that if you're going to stick to it, that's something that you absolutely have to have. Because if that's going to make you happy to have a man with straight teeth and he's 6'5", then you need that kind of a man. But so whatever you put on that list, make sure it's something that you have to have. But if you shallow, then list those things. But but I think a list is important. At least you know what you want.
Okay.
So you can start from there, but don't mean you have to just completely stick to it, because ain't nobody gonna, or normally people don't always, fill a list, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So
I guess
do what's important to you, like what your must, things that you have to have.
Mm-hmm.
If he has to have a good job, not saying that's a bad thing, but if that's something that's a must, then, just be true to yourself, whatever you put on the list.
Okay. So if you're gonna put that on your list, do you need to live up to it too?
If I would think it'll be fair, but everybody ain't fair though. So but because like Miss Marilyn said, this is a lifelong decision that you're making. So I'm not against the list.
Okay. What you think?
Well, I think it's important. I think it's just like getting ready to write a paper. Everybody wants to get a rough draft down, first of all, because everything you throw out there on that rough draft, you're not going to write on that final paper. So sometimes when you getting that list together, there's some things that you're going to scratch off the list because it sounds good today, but tomorrow that didn't sound too good, And so you want to, definitely think about things that are important to you. Most of the time what I find women doing is repeating phases of marrying men that are just like their fathers. And if you're not careful, whether it's good or bad, that's what you're going to begin to start gravitating to. So you want to be, very mindful of the things that you are, putting on your paper, what you are, saying, and, different things like that. But I think there are some things that are definitely important, because there are some things that are going to follow you throughout your lifetime, like everybody's not the same. There are some standards that some women and some men have lived by, all of their lives because this is what they've grown up with. To another person, this may not be as important to them. So you got to, what they say, to thine own self be true about different things. I would say myself, I don't necessarily have a list that I write down, but I do have a mental picture of the type of, man that I'm, interested in. I do like a man that has a strong education on him because it challenges you when you're conversating. I'm a talker, so I definitely want to be with somebody that's a communicator. And if that's your personality and you get with somebody that's not talking, that's going to really, really agitate you one day. If you're the type of person that likes things to be organized and, put things in order, that may not be so much of a must that you have to have on your list, but one of y'all need to be a good organizer. I think, where you can even get things on your list, hopefully they will balance your unbalances as well, because I believe that opposites do attract one another, to a certain degree. So the list is important to a degree of things that are very, very important to you. And then there are some things that you do have to, allow for room to grow, for you guys to begin to start writing a script together, because some of that stuff you put on your list is a script that came from your childhood. It came from the ways that you grew up and things like that. But when you start joining with other people, you have to begin to start writing a new script as it relates to the two of you. And it takes a minute for you to get to know yourself before you can begin to start writing a script for somebody else's life.
Okay. This is good. Okay, I got one more question. I think we done went over our time just a little bit. But you said opposites attract, right? So, and I see that so many times. Like sometimes we have like this certain guy or girl that it is that we want to get with, but 9 times out of 10 we're not gonna get with that person that we see. So I mean, like when you find yourself going through that opposites attract phase, like what, I guess it's like, how do you begin to break down your not, I won't say break down your standards, but break down the thoughts or whatever it is that you have in your mind to allow that relationship to flow? Because if you want somebody that's Instagram like photos or whatever, or got the goatee and all that kind of stuff just right, but God doesn't send you somebody like that, like how do you go in and like for real go in and break down those walls and say, you know what, I still like you though, like, or whatever?
Wow. Oh gosh.
Well, I just think that, when you're able to be attracted to someone that you wouldn't have normally thought you would have been attracted to, I just think that's just love. You're going to fall in love with whoever you're going to fall in love with. He may not look like the guy that was in the magazine.
Yeah.
He'll be just for you,
Oh my
So
God.
that's why.
Okay.
I guess this kind of reminds me of that movie Just Right. That's probably my favorite movie with Common and Queen Latifah, to where he had I think a bucket list or a list of the type of woman that he wanted, but in reality, when it got down to the heart of the matter, he really wanted someone that had a genuine heart that cared about them. So I think sometimes the opposites attracting each other. It takes a minute when you have standards that are standing up that may not be what we call true standards. They're just things that you want to live by, but it may not bring about the best resolve. And a lot of times what we'll do before we actually get to that actualization, many of us have to bump our heads. We end up running into the wrong people. We get attracted to different people for whatever, it may be. One, because we're probably looking for somebody that's coming in and kind of satisfying a hunger that's inside of us at that time, and not looking for somebody for longevity later on down the road. And in reality, the opposites of one another, it brings about challenges. Most of the time that's what we run from, because this person is so opposite from where we are. And that's all because we have not identified where our weaknesses are. Because when you find out where you're weak at and you find that opposite person that's strong in that area, you would definitely appreciate them when they come in. But sometimes it takes a minute to get to that place. So the opposites coming together, it takes a place of reality. It's a place of reality that has to come in with you for you to say that I need somebody that's strong where I'm weak.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll need me where they're weak at. It's a place where I'm strong at. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Okay.
when you talk about somebody that looks a certain way, we got to be careful not to get caught up in things just for the show of it, or just because he looked like this, I want to stay with him, or I want to get with him because he looks good, because that's not what's important in life. And when you think about pairing up with people for the rest of your life, it's going to get old that you with somebody just because of the way they look, or just because of what they have.
Yeah.
You know, things going to have to go deeper than that, because as you get older, you're going to realize that stuff is not important.
Okay.
Another thing I think, Jessica, too, is that people change. You know, they start off one way, and what happens if an accident happens and it disfigures them in some kind of way, and if that's what you were hooked up on and not really hooked up on the heart of the person, it's real easy for you to leave a situation because you were never connected, to them in that. So I think it's, a place where you have to really search yourself before you get other people involved in, a place of I guess, an expectation. You're expecting something that may not even be real. So I think it's a learning curve in the midst of all of it.
Okay. Well, thank y'all so much. I'm loving the response, and I'm glad that we were able to get together and I was able to just have the conversation with y'all, because I need it, and I know other ladies need it too, and even other guys need it that might be watching. So y'all, just once again, happy Mother's Day. Y'all enjoy the day, and we are signing out. Ladies in Preparation. Bye.
Bye, y'all.